Welcome to the second episode of the Bees Brothers podcast. I'm John.
And I'm Phil.
And today we've got a very, very special guest. Do you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Leigh.
Come on, who are you?
I'm Leigh Sweetman and I'm the area manager for the AJP Pub Group.
So yeah, this is Leigh, our area manager for the pub group, and we're going to have I won't say quick because nothing's ever quick when we're talking. We're going to have a chat about your experiences within the sector and hopefully have a bit of a banter and some laugh on the way.
I think we want to know a little bit about you, where you've come from, what you're doing in the industry, how you're finding the industry. Basically a bit of everything really. So
yeah.
Yeah, well, I think the thing to start with is
you.
What's your background? Where did you start? How did you get into the pub industry? Sorry.
I probably didn't join as early as most people, but I did start at ground roots level. I started off glass collecting, really fresh behind the bar, but I didn't start till I was 23.
Wow.
I'd kind of tried many different things before, lots of different avenues. I'd worked for my godfather in a cleaning company. I'd worked in computers. I was even a nurse for a period of time, which was following in my mum's kind of background. But when I took up the bar work, it was purely by chance. I was constantly drinking in a Jumping Jacks in Brighton.
We might hear Jumping Jacks quite a lot.
We should have got a bottle of spirits and have a shot every time it says Jumping Jacks.
Yeah. So that's where I started. I literally started off there. I was a regular customer. I was going in most nights, drinking, got to know a lot of the staff, and then a lot of their staff got let go. And the entrance manager just said to me, "I'm not being funny, Leigh. You're here more than the staff. Do you want a job?" Yeah. And I was just like, yeah, okay. So I literally signed up. I didn't know the difference from a half pint glass to a pint glass. I didn't know what to serve. And
I can't imagine you on a bar.
I love it. Still do it now. I enjoy the banter that you can have.
Yeah.
Obviously, things have evolved over time. So the banter you could have back then, you can't have so much now, and times have changed and developed. But the whole ethos of the Jumping Jacks brand was all about. but it was all about that Butlins on High Street.
Yeah.
So that was
it was an incredible product. It was.
Yeah, and that was kind of led into what you had to do as being part and parcel. So I was brought into an industry that was embracing music and entertainment. We weren't allowed to just work on a bar as bar staff. You had to go and perform on stage. You had to sing or dance or. And for me, who'd never really done that kind of stuff, I'd love to at school. We all did a bit of drama work at school.
Yeah.
Suddenly found myself doing crew routines, and then moved from doing crew routines to singing songs, and then found myself closing Jumping Jacks Saturday night every night doing Mustang Sally, to then choreographing.
I remember being in a jumping shop. And the closing literally was that on the stage, everyone singing it. It was just like it was Butlins on the high street, wasn't it?
It was very different to what you expect and what's on the high street nowadays. I think we've gone now. Just fast forward to now, it's a lot more. I'd say a little bit more serious now the nightlife than it was back then. I think it was more like being on holiday as such at that time. I think from my experience anyway.
So going back to Jumping Jacks shop in Reading, where did you then go? So you went from behind the bar at Jumping Jacks.
In Brighton.
What year was this?
Brighton.
Sorry, what year was this, by the way? Sorry.
Oof.
Just to give context.
We're probably talking around about 98. Hang on, if I look at when I'm born 74, 20 years on that would be 90 plus 3. So yeah, you're looking at 1997, 1998.
So the heyday of them venues then.
Yeah, so when they really kind of struck gold and allowed me to travel around the country. To be honest, that site actually closed, which made me move and then take on a new challenge. So I then went to Crawley, an Icon in Crawley, which was like a mega site. It was like it was absolutely. I think it was about a 3,000 capacity venue.
Was that a Luminar venue?
Which was Rank Entertainments back then. Right. So we're talking real early days. But it was Rank, which then became Northern Leisure, which then became Luminar, which then became Deltic.
Oh, Rank the Casino, the same company or not? No, is it a different company?
Rank Entertainment was a kind of a subsidiary of Rank, that they were doing the bingo halls. They used to have the bingo halls, and then they kind of moved into this other sector, which kind of became its own little entity. And they had all the kind of nightclubs and this brand, Jumping Jackson, were looking how that they could develop that, and obviously we ended up with the Chicago Rocks and everything else as well at one point. So there was a lot of stuff around entertainment and it not being just a Friday, Saturday night. It was about Thursday nights, and you would have Mr. Wet boxer shorts, Miss Wet t-shirt. You know what I mean? This is what we're talking, where we're back in the 90s and the early 2000s where we were still risky and we were still kind of doing things. But then that kind of developed later on with their brand. I mean, I left that brand for a little while. I helped do the opening of Swansea Jumping Jacks, and then returned back to a big nightclub. So I then got the blessing of both worlds of working in a large, monstrous size venue and looking at retail. So that's where I got my real taste of what does a bottle cost, what does a shot cost, and how does it impact the business en masse. But I had great teachers in Brighton, which allowed me to elevate and become the manager I am. But then I had more good teachers. I found myself very lucky on my journey that I had people that understood my passion, but also saw the best of me to be able to pull the correct stuff out. There were some managers along the way that I probably didn't click with or didn't get on well with, but there was always...
It happens all over, doesn't it?
Exactly, but I also learned from them, and you have to learn. Not every manager you get is going to be great. And some of the managers that I probably didn't get on so well with, I still respected them and their job and what they had to do, and I did what they wanted, but I learned my management style from learning what I didn't like about them, to then be able to deliver who I am now to the managers that I've got.
So obviously I was 11-year-old in 1998, so I wasn't around at that time to see it. Apart from the volume of people, obviously it was greater at that time of life than it is now on the high street. What would you say is the main difference from then to now, when you go out on the streets now, looking around at the bars, what are about?
I think there's real confusion out there at the moment. It's easy, we could talk about woke society, but it's there and it exists. People are far more opinionated now than they've ever been. They're far more judgmental now than they've ever been, but they've also got more to cross-reference now than they've ever been. Social media brings everything to the forefront. So, where we used to talk about the customer journey, used to be when you turned up outside and you go, oh, is it clean on the outside? Are the door staff meeting and greeting, and then your journey through? That happens way sooner now. It's all on social media. It's beforehand. It's on Facebook. It's on Instagram. It's everywhere now. You've got to look at your footprint, and that's kind of changed people's mindset that are out on the night time. They know more in advance where they're going and what they want to do, but they're also quick to judge. And I find that there is a difficult level with that, in the fact that people can manipulate it for the benefits and for the losses against business. So it's a very tricky one that makes running businesses way harder now than it used to be. And not just the footfall. The footfall was great back then. Everybody was out to have a good time. So, you had venues that were 18 to 80, and then you had those venues that were targeted purely at 17, 16 to 21 year olds, and that, and you used to have split levels. Now, my early days of nightclubbing, we'd go into the underage section where you could all go in at any age, have a good time. To get upstairs, you had to be over 18, you had to show ID to get to the bar upstairs. That kind of stuff doesn't exist anymore. You're never going to get those venues that can put, an entire age group in one and separate it.
And I think for some, obviously there's a lot of positive reasons for children not being in town centres, but I think there's a lot of negative aspects to that as well. That I think the positives is obviously it's a dangerous place, town centres, but as a 16, 17 year old, 15 year old, just to be around adults, it matures you very quickly as well, or can do. I suppose we started off early in the industry, just walking around the town centre, and
Well,
getting into bars underage at some stage.
We were in bars at 14, 15 years old,
and it matures you extremely quickly.
You had to grow up, or you get punched.
But we're not recommending this at the moment with us.
Don't be sneaking in our bars anyway. Stay away.
But there is that aspect though that you're talking about, the north-south divide that used to exist was there when I moved up north 20 years ago. I came up to a whole different culture. When they say, oh, there's a divide, down south we never had those social areas we had. We didn't have working men's clubs and pubs anymore. They'd been eradicated during my sort of teenage years. We certainly didn't go to them. There were a few, but they weren't as prevalent as they were up north, you know. And I moved to like Leeds and then to Wigan, and they were there. You know, certainly when I moved to Wigan, there was more working men's pubs and clubs, which they use the word working men, but they were full of families. So the families would get together, all go out together, young, old, you know, every age group was there. And then the younger ones, the 18 to 20 year olds, would then go into town.
There's a reason, I think, why Phoenix Nights was filmed in Bolton and not down south. We all kind of looked at it and went, oh, that's, you know, as a southerner, you kind of go, oh, that doesn't exist. Then you come up north and it was there. It's
but
fundamental. Even now, it
exists, but it's been eradicated. I know from still living in Wigan, as I've done 20 years, that a lot of them have closed down or, you know, don't exist as well as they used to. Going
back to nightclubs, which was your toughest club to run, as in
or area, maybe?
Or area, yeah. So like, which was your headache and you were glad to see the back of?
I've never been glad to see the back of any venue, and the reason being is because everyone has its own challenge, but it also has its own reward. And them challenges can be client based, they can be operator based, you know, they can be corporate based. There's always ones that are going to test you in different areas, but for me that was always the excitement. A lot of my time I was spent going in and to venues that were struggling or in trouble or weren't kind of achieving what they needed to be, but that was part of the enjoyment and the challenge. You kind of, I can make a difference here.
So what was your biggest challenge venue then?
I think for me probably when I went to Oxford. Because I went there as a bars manager, not even a general manager.
What venue was that?
It was Fifth Avenue, which was in a shopping centre above a Sainsbury's. And we were supposed to have a general manager, but they were on sick. So I'd gone from being an assistant manager in a mega club to then being given bars manager responsibility in a nice, small, I think it was like a 700 capacity venue. But then there was no one there to teach me anything else, because they were off on sick. And it was a case of, here is a really tired, really run down, really worn out hub of a nightclub in a city centre, nowhere near the nightlife.
Here's the keys.
And crack on.
Do you felt like being thrown in the deep end helped you progress quicker as such, or do you feel like being nurtured more on a one-to-one would be is more beneficial? Because I think you see both people. I think different people do thrive under different environments.
Sink or swim scenario.
I like being thrown in the deep end and solving the solution, but other people are a bit, I'd say, scared about that. How would you?
I think I've become a chameleon, because my first two venues were with managers that knew what they were doing and were very good and were able to identify the needs in what I needed to progress and could pull that out of me and show me the right way to do things that kind of opened my eyes and got me excited about the job. To then go to a venue where there's no one and there's no support network. Your area manager comes around when they want to see you because they've got so much to do, and you're then left and you're kind of going, what do I ask for? What do I do? You know, how do I ask for things? And you have to kind of go, right, what's my next step? And for me, for that site, it was quite simple. You know your basics. You've just been learning them. Install what you know, because that's what you know, and then you can pick up the rest. And that's why I say I'm a chameleon in that regards, because I could have let the fear take over, and I could have just been that guy who sat back and went, or you know, you haven't actually told me to do that, or I'm not actually the general manager, so that's not my problem.
Yeah.
And I chose not to be that person. I chose to be, well, I'm here, let's get on with it.
Yeah.
And it was a time where I literally had no money. I was living up there in a small little bed sit. I was buying a packet of croissants to survive on a day because they were like 19p, because I was sending money home to my wife and child, and so the money was all getting spent there, and I was living on nothing. So it was like, throw yourself into your work. The more you're busy working, the less you're thinking about the fact you haven't eaten today or you haven't done anything else, and go for it. And we did go for it. I mean, it was at a time where we were coming up to Millennium Bug, you know, where everyone's going to shut down and the world's going to end, and you know, head office was going, you're going to be mega busy, set yourself up for it. And I was just like, I'm not. But you got force dropped. I mean, I got force dropped VKs that were stacked floor to ceiling in the cellar, and they were still floor to ceiling after New Year's because no one came out. And it was a challenging time at that site. It was a big, you know, I learned how to strip a light rig.
So you shut the site in the end?
No. I stripped the light rig to clean it, to put it back up, to make it better.
I get you.
Because there's no money. No, head office won't give you any money for
So
anything.
what was the end result of that venue? Was it still trading when you?
Oh, it was still trading. It was still trading, but we'd gone up a level because I introduced kids' night into there. So we put an underage event in that was so successful it made national newspapers.
Wow.
Because they were
For
queuing.
good or bad?
Both.
Yeah.
Because they were queuing at a shopping centre.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'd never expected it to be that busy. There was probably the venue times 3 children outside waiting to get into this. It was just like, where have they all come from?
What are you going to do?
You know, and that was just it. We literally had to turn people away. There were kids turning up drunk, you know, so you have an eye opener to the world of, you know, kids misbehaving and, you know, the problems that can come with that. But you put all the pressure on yourself to deliver. You know, you're the names on the license. You have to protect, and you've got to do the right. So we did fantastic things to make sure that everybody was looked after, even the drunk ones. But it was a huge learning curve, you know. I could talk about the times when we got nominated for a BEDA award, you know, in Woking. You know, that was fantastic moments, but it wasn't a challenge.
No.
Yeah.
You know, we had a good team. I had a good team in Oxford while we were there, but it was tough because you were new, you were fresh, and you had no idea what was coming next. I mean, I met Santi from VK when he was still peddling it out the back of his car at that venue, you know, and we still have a relationship because of that you know, that experience of him pushing his product.
I think obviously it's quite an important thing of in business or in any management role of you need to be chucked in the deep end, but you do need a support network around you. So I think it is finding that balance because you don't know what you don't know, and for anyone who's starting a pub or anything like that, I think it's fundamentally important that you do take that leap of faith sometimes, because
I think that's probably when you go to obviously the Tide pub model. You know, there's a BDM looking after 30 pubs, so they can have that support. They can hold your hand as much as you want,
which is fantastic.
Which is good. People. Obviously, if you're new to the industry, obviously you're taking a Tide house on, the support is there because they want you to succeed because you're going to sell more beer.
Which means they get more profit at the same time.
They get more money, they sell more barrelage, but at the same time, you're learning a skill, which then you don't need your hand held maybe after a year. So it's just developing yourself, isn't it?
Like myself and John, when we started, it was we had to lean on each other's little bits of skills that we learned from. Like obviously, you started off running multiple sites for a company. Obviously, we DJ together and stuff. But I started running one pub, and the little bits that you learn from different angles. Obviously, you just got to lean on each other sometimes.
I think, obviously, rolling back the clock 10, 15 years, you did rely on people more because we didn't have technology like we do today. It's like, you need an answer now, you just go online, you can find the answer. Like, you needed the answer 10, 15 years ago. You're looking for your phone book going, who can I ring to talk to this room and figure out the answer, which you don't need to these days, which is pretty sad. But at the same time, it speeds up the industry because you can go, right, ChatGPT. It's so easy now to find these answers.
We do lose that communication, that personal touch with each other at the same time, which I think this is one of the reasons why we're doing this sort of thing, is to speak, because
talk more.
Yeah, I think talking more.
It's like you bump into someone at an event, you haven't seen them for like 3 years, and like you haven't spoken to them for 3 years. It's like because you used to speak more because you needed to speak more.
Yeah. I mean, for me, my growth came through teams, building good teams, and there was a lot of courses along the way that you can learn, and you can learn the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Management that teaches you about building a bench, and sometimes you're actually already doing it. You just don't know until somebody gets you a book, shows you a book, and kind of goes, these are the way, and you kind of go, I'm doing that. I am actually doing that, and it kind of opens your eyes to the fact that your management style is and fits into a certain mold, but people help you become who you are, whether you're learning from them or you're training, because like you say, you don't know until you know. These people below you don't know until you teach them, and the more you teach them, the more you actually understand, well, I actually do know more than I thought I knew. And I need to share some of that, because if you build a good support network, if you build a good team around you, you breed success. You breed it from within, you breed it from yourselves.
I think from our company side of it, one thing you brought to the table for us is, you're having meetings next week, is that communication side, even over internet and Teams meetings, that you're discussing Christmas schedules, and I think that's important fundamentally, that you're communicating, which you do obviously as an area manager. How do you process that, as in with the team members or our managers inside the venues, to get the best out of them?
It is difficult because individuals are individuals, and everyone wants to know or wants to learn and wants to do things at their own pace and their own rate. And some people just don't. Some people think they already know it all. So you can only, and certainly in a big group, when you're bringing everybody into one meeting, like I do on a monthly basis with our guys, is you can only give them the information that you feel is relevant. You can only give them the information that you hope that they absorb, and then give them that option to then ask questions. That's why I've encouraged them to share one good thing and one bad thing, to get them to be more vocal, because like we've already discussed, communication is great, and we've lost that art in the world at the moment of communicating. So by me getting managers to communicate in that group, that might be the only time that they talk with each other or get to share how good it is or how tough it is. And there is a lot of good going on, and there is a lot of bad stuff going on, but we just want to kind of acknowledge the good and acknowledge the bad and pull it out of them. But then by giving them all the information that I feel is relevant, it allows the manager to kind of come to me with what they feel is important to them. To kind of go, oh, I noticed what you said in there about that. Can I ask some more questions? Yes. And then I have to make that time to go and see them and spend with them, because they've shown a willingness to learn or to pick it up or run with it. But there are times that I've mentioned loads of stuff with them and it doesn't happen. And it does frustrate me, because I think there's so much up here that I've done in 30 years that if everybody just took a little bit, they'd all be a little bit further on. And not everything that I've got will work.
No.
But if everyone tries a little bit and they find their own way, there could be a lot more wins out there than probably we're getting at the moment.
And I think this is why we're doing this podcast, because if we can get a little bit of information by everyone who comes on and sits on that sofa, then we're all going to be in a better position.
Going back to, obviously, you mentioned Teams, Zoom. It's such a powerful tool now, and it speeds up so much time. What other tool are you using, what you weren't using, let's say, 20 years ago?
Listen, I was scared.
Not electric cars.
Let's not go to electric car. I was scared of Teams. I'm still exploring its infinite number of uses it can do. I've barely scratched the surface. Just to get my guys to log in and have a meeting once a month is fantastic for me personally, my learning curve and how we develop. But if you think now we're able to communicate far more effectively from when I was there, I mean, I had one of the first ever flip phones. When I started, there wasn't flip phones. It wasn't mobile devices. Now we're on WhatsApp groups, or there's other ones out there like Telegram and stuff like that people can communicate from. And I find that they are powerful. WhatsApp is a powerful tool for immediate response. But we can be in danger of probably using it too much and oversharing.
I think it's overtaken email to a point, and that you're sharing a lot of information on WhatsApp, because you know straight away I can swipe it, go, right, who's read that? So you assume they've read it, and if they've not read it, are they missing out on key information? Because I notice it does happen sometimes with us, with managers, that they've not read something and then they're like, oh, where do I find this, for example? I'm like, well, it's in that chat.
Yeah.
So
I think information's brilliant, but it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Especially from where we're standing, because the amount of like, as in the operators of a business, it can become overwhelming with the amount of group chats we're in at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Where we miss things sometimes because of the amount of information that you're constantly getting into a stream.
That's why sometimes, obviously, if I see something on a message, I'll just say, please email me, because at least then I can flag things in my inbox and go, I need to work through this. Where on a WhatsApp, once you've read it, that's it. You can't unread it, you can't mark it as unread. It's literally that one-time notification, and unless you put it in your diary or on your calendar or what, then it's gone. So it's a brilliant tool.
Mark Zuckerberg
Yeah.
sorted out so
You
John can...
You should be able to unread messages, so then I've still got notifications in my inbox. That's the feature I need.
Well, what I use with mine and with the guys is, so they might put a request on WhatsApp saying they need branded glassware. And I've already said to them, if I thumbs up it, then I've done it. If I haven't, send it to me again.
Yeah.
Because, at one point we had 18 sites. That's 18 managers all asking for stuff.
Constantly.
So that's 18 sites we're all in with. Then there's the 18 individual sites. Then there's the maintenance, and it gets like a minefield. So I used to say to them, if I've thumbs up it, I've ordered it. If I've not done it, send it me again, because I will need gentle reminders sometimes. I have got a lot. I am doing a lot.
I might have to start doing that then.
And
I'm not thumbs up yet. Do it again.
I think that's the most difficult part of our jobs in general, is just the amount of information that you get. And I fully get I understand the managers that obviously we've got working with us. They want everything now, but it's like when you got 18 people, 17 people, however many people, all wanting that time and attention, it becomes very difficult. And I go back to the point as well of, like, sometimes a sink or swim scenario is you kind of need to push back and go, we're here to support you, but you need to sort of make your own decisions and your own, and find your own answers.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that I share in the BDMs that I have with them, because, again, going back to my experiences of working independents and corporates, an independent can react very quickly when there's only 3 venues.
Yeah.
But an independent that has 18 venues, it obviously takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But when you go into a world of the corporate,
Yeah.
you are but a name and a number, and they'll get to you when they get to you. There were times I had no fridges, I had no aircon units, and it's one of those, you can send as many emails as you like, the answer's going to be no.
Yeah.
So you learn to fix stuff yourself. You learn to find ways around the problem, because it's the customer that matters, and it's the customer that cares. And that's why that corporate world is difficult. And the corporates that are getting it right are still around. The corporates that didn't get it right, who forgot that it's about the customer, aren't around anymore.
But I think, obviously, being a small group that we are, and obviously independents and other small groups out there, we do react fast. Where
possible, anyway.
Where possible, where needed.
Yeah.
Where obviously we got a new manager coming in, wants to implement something, we can turn it around in 24 hours. Where if you put that to a big multinational, you could be talking months.
Oh, minimum
and
3 months.
It could then, even when it gets to approval, not even get signed off, and all you're going to do is just dishearten the site, and they're just going to lose drive. It's like, if you agree with it, if it's not something stupid, then just give it a go.
And I think the other benefit, obviously, with our, just talking about our world that we live in at the moment, is in our company, is because it's just myself and John, who we've known each other since being children. There's not layers and layers and layers, so we can act fast in regards to people's needs. I don't know how you found that.
It's different because I get it, because I've seen all the, my experience of the different industries means I understand the speed that we go at. But sometimes our managers don't always, because they've only been in this world and they haven't experienced the corporate or the PLC worlds, or the larger industries where you have to wait for a PO to be approved, and then or you've got to get 3 quotes for anything to get done, for anything to get done.
I don't think I could function in the corporate world anymore. I just
Well,
think,
we had this chat the other day about this, didn't we?
I just don't think I could do it.
But that's where I'd say I'm a chameleon, because you just learn to adapt.
I'd get fed up and frustrated. I'd be like, I want to do this, I want to do it now, I know it's going to work. Let's just crack on.
But that's where 6 P's come in. Proper planning prevents piss poor performance.
Yeah.
You plan because that model means you have to plan. So you have to kind of go, listen, that's not going to get fixed till then, so we need to find a solution to see us until it can get done. Is there a workaround? If not, that's the one I need to highlight. And you start doing I've been on that many courses, we start doing the old box drawing, what's important and crucial, what's not important, what's not relevant, you put all them boxes in, and you kind of go, that's top, that's above all else, protect my license, I've got to get that done. I've got to focus on that, because without that, we can't open, we can't operate. You've got to look at those things.
I think it's one thing, even just before this podcast, that we're just having a chat, and how can we reward our regulars in January? And this is one of the conversations that we were having beforehand on basically, it was just a small idea of just getting a voucher, 12 stamps in December, 12 pints in December, and we'll give you a discounted rate in January, which I think them sort of decisions, John's wrote it on his notes, can get implemented. Just small ideas like that. It's.
But it's one of those again. You pick up key
I thought
phrases.
30 pints, not 12.
You did put 30 as well. But it's we all have different terminology. Like I went straight with bounce back, and you were like reward card. We're both talking the same thing.
But it's communication again.
We're both talking the same language. Just the same industry, the same thing. But it is crucial. You look at those people that come to our venues day in and day out. How do we, reward them without effectively, over discounting and crippling, because it's the managers as well as us. You're cutting the margins all the time, and nobody's helping us.
No.
Nobody's, the government's not saying, let's
fingers
match
crossed
VAT.
for the 26th of November anyway.
If they match VAT with that of supermarkets, then we've got a fighting chance. But I don't ever see that happening, unfortunately. Which is dangerous for the industry. We've seen the way it's turning. We know it's tough out there for everyone. We've seen what the closures are like, and we know managers are willing to work hard and fight hard. But I do see a lot of managers, not in our pubs, but in other pubs, that are beginning to give up.
So why did you get involved in the hospitality sector?
The amount of times I've left the hospitality sector is untrue.
Why do you keep coming back?
You know how people can get addicted to alcohol?
You're right.
I got addicted to hospitality.
Okay.
And whether I've been running hotels, whether I've been running pubs, running nightclubs, they all come down to the same thing. People make the difference. And it's whether it's the people you're working with, people you're working for, or the people you're serving. They're all different, they're all unique. And you know what? They fill your body and your soul and your spirit full of joy. When you get it right, there's no greater feeling than when that customer's smiling at you and says, thanks. Even if it was just pouring them a pint, or helping them up off the floor because they've fallen over because they've had too much to drink, or just the gratitude of people when you've done an event for them. I used to run a wedding venue, doing people's weddings. The amount of joy you get out of the fact that you've created a special occasion for those people just meant every time I left, because I went, I need a regular 9-to-5 job, I want to be at home with the wife and the kids. The wife knew darn well I wasn't happy. The wife knew I wasn't a sit on the couch kind of guy. I enjoy making people smile. I enjoy the fundamentals of what we do as a business, which is entertain people, whether it's through DJs or bands. There's so much choice out there, and it is so difficult that there's a challenge every day. There's a challenge every week.
I think you're born to be in this industry a little bit. I think you either love it and you're enthralled by it, or you absolutely hate it. I don't think there's a middle ground, especially the older you get, when getting up in the morning is not as easy, and the later nights and all that sort of thing. I think if you're still in it at our ages as such, you've got to love it. You've got to love it.
Well, I'm a little bit older than you two, but...
No, not a little bit.
but you're right, that if you don't love it, don't do it.
Yeah.
But you find that it also loves you back.
Yeah.
And it does love you back. like I say, you get the rewards from the people, and you'll see it. You talk to some of our managers, you know what I mean? They love it. They love it. You go to Oldham right now, the two girls we've got in Oldham that are running that, they love being in that pub.
Yeah.
They're always in that pub.
Yeah.
But the customers love them. And then when you walk in there, the customers know who we are and they want to talk to you. And that leaves you with a sense of, I'm doing something right, we're doing something right.
Yeah. And
that fills your pockets with more than money. You know what I mean?
They don't fill our pockets with money anymore. Bloody hell.
Well, no, there's no money out
them
there
days are gone.
Yeah. But you can get that kind of thing that makes it feel worthwhile, you know. And that for me is why I keep coming back. It's why every time I think I want a 9 to 5, I know I don't. I need to find the place where I can make a difference, and the company where I can make a difference, and you know, the industry where I can make a difference in has always been hospitality. From the early days of that alleged known brand that we don't like to discuss because it costs you a shot.
Go on another shot.
Do you want another shot?
Yeah, let's have another shot. But you know, that breds entertainment, and you know, to get up, sing, dance, and perform, you've got to be a little bit of a character in itself.
Yeah.
And that just, you know, that just resonated in me that you're making a difference, and I've kept hold of that rather than allow the negatives to always come in and pile on top and become overwhelming, because they do. Some days it's just overwhelming, and you can get bogged down in it all. You need to hold on to those little chinks of light sometimes and kind of go, that's what I do it for. That's why I'm here. And you know what? I've had a bad week or a bad month, but I know it's 1 week or 1 month, and there is another one out there.
I think hospitality relies a lot on energy, positive energy. I think, obviously, we've learned in the industry that whether it's people who work in there, it's like a great positive outlook makes such a difference to customers who come in through the door, because people go out and socialise not because they want to feel miserable. They might have had a miserable day. They want to come in, talk to somebody who's could have maybe they've had a death in the family, or maybe they've had something serious happen that week. They want to come in and forget about that situation, and I think hospitality brings that in general.
But what we're at a danger of, and I've experienced it in hospitality, is we're at a danger of, and let's be honest, we've got to pay the bills. It's death by numbers, you know, and you can't open if you've not got the money.
No.
But it's so easy to go in and berate a manager and put them down and tell them the sales aren't right and this isn't right or the cleaning's not right. It's easy to do that because you can walk in, it's instant. And it has to be done. Don't get me wrong, we have to do that level of the business needs to be right. It's much harder to lift them up and let them see the positives, like we were discussing earlier. You know, there's a manager that we've got within our business that's doing a good job. We just need to make sure we reaffirm it, because that's what gets missed out of the industry sometimes. We forget. Well, I know you guys don't, because we've been doing it on the journey since you brought me on board, of reaffirming to people, you know, you are doing a good job, and we do value you.
Obviously, to be fair, obviously you brought on the awards night where originally our staff party was just a piss up. To be blunt, it was just a piss up once a year.
It was fun.
It's still fun. It's still fun.
It's still a piss up.
It was just a piss up. Everyone got absolutely slaughtered. Brilliant night out, and it was messy. And then you come along, put structure to it, put awards in, and I was like, no, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. You proved me wrong.
And it's been better.
And
It's been better.
it's a nice evening. Then it's messy.
Yeah.
And it works really well, but obviously a couple of years ago, I don't know how many years ago we introduced Benidorm.
About 3 years ago.
3, 4, this year
3 or
4 now.
I think it's year 4.
Year 4 now. Every year we take all the managers who've been with us 6 months to Benidorm, just as a thank you, and we can spend that time with them and praise them for everything they do for the business.
And not just that as well, it's them memories that they get. I still get managers now who talk about the past Benidorm trips who don't work for us anymore. That's one thing that resonates with them, the fun time that we do have.
But you don't get that in the corporate companies.
No, you don't. Well,
some of you do.
I've been to New York. If you want to take me there, that's quite nice. I went there, but that was paid for by VK, I think. But thank you very much, VK, for that. I enjoyed my trip. My wife didn't. She was pregnant and couldn't come. But the one thing I like to remind the guys are, you don't get that in many companies anymore. No. You don't get that level of, we have a party for all the staff. Large companies don't do that. They work on the management teams or the head office teams. We don't have a huge head office team. But you don't get that level of reward that you give to the staff, that they do appreciate They probably don't always show it so much, but they do, especially on that night. They definitely appreciate it. The alcohol and the fact that they're being embraced. For me, bringing the awards was just about turning a social occasion into a meaningful social occasion, which
more meaningful.
But it also identified, and I know from being a manager, there's nothing better than winning an award.
No.
And then because that doesn't leave you. I've still got my awards at home. You want that recognition that you were the best, and we've talked about it when we've looked at CVs in the past, and that guy's won an award and that one's won an award. People don't win an award for nothing.
No.
They win an award because they've achieved something good. And for me, it was you had such a good business and such a good structure. I believed it was time then to bring something in. And don't get me wrong, I come in with, let's do awards for everyone. And you went, no, let's just keep it to 3, which was the correct decision. So, I was ready to come in all, fireworks and drama. But they're already talking about it.
Yeah.
They're talking about it even now. We haven't even got to the end, who's going to win the manager year? Dylan's left, Dylan did a great job in Oldham.
Yeah, 100%.
Probably nailed on to win manager of the year, but then left halfway through the year.
Yeah.
So now they're all kind of like, who's going to win? Who's going to win? Who's going to win?
Oh.
And it's nice that they're even thinking about it. It's like, well, cool. You've got Halloween coming up, and you've got Christmas coming up.
Prove your point.
Yeah. Prove that you want it.
I think going back to obviously managers coming in, and obviously the manager we're talking about who is doing a fantastic job. The sales aren't, he's not been in the business long, but the sales aren't where we want them to be yet, but they've improved drastically since he's joined. And like I say, it's I've had this meeting with managers, is everybody nowadays, I think in life, expects light switch moments where they come in and a week later, 2 weeks later, everything's just perfect and everything's trading well. But
it don't happen.
You just need small little layers, and I call them little layers, over periods of time where just build slowly and steadily, get your pub like a family, and embrace it.
It's not as easy as it used to be.
No.
When I used to go into a site, I could identify the problems within the first week, and I'd have it fixed by week 2, and sales would go through. And that was most businesses I jumped into. Even when I went to Morrison's as a cafe manager, it was like I can identify the problem working in a cafe, and I fix the problem within week 1.
Yeah.
In the industry we're in at the moment, it's not that easy anymore.
No.
There are so many different layers, and the businesses are all so different in the fact that, all right, we don't do food, but we have a day trade and a night trade.
Yes.
Wow. Coming to a screen near you soon. There are still so many different layers to our business. We don't pigeonhole. We just look after daytime people. We just look after people. We're not a nightclub. We're not. We have a multifaceted venue that caters on sports level, on cocktail level. On live music, on karaoke, entertainment, and there's so many different facets to it.
Yeah.
You've got to nail each one to be like, hey, I've smashed it. But even then, once you get some of them right, one will not work, and then you've got to go back and work on that one. So you're always learning and adapting and evolving. So it's important that these managers kind of get that acknowledgement going, you're making good progress.
Yeah.
Don't let your head dip when one drops. Because
one will drop.
Yeah, because one always drops.
Yeah.
And I've been there in that point where you can allow that pressure to kind of go, and you can be defeated. And you're right in our conversation we had earlier. Go and make sure that they do feel right, because they're doing a good job.
It's just
they're not there yet.
The start of the journey, and that's the hardest part of any journey, is the start, and that's where the attention to detail in human contact means more than anything, because people work for people, and I think if you spend so much time with someone at the start of the journey, when times are crap, that's when they can. That's when they work for people. That's when people work for people, not just.
I want to disagree with you slightly. That first week's not the difficult week.
Yeah.
It's the second and third,
Yeah.
because they come in.
Definitely,
They come in with that. Yeah, I could do this attitude, like you say, and that's the easiest time, because that first week, them problems.
You're running around 100 miles an hour.
You know what I mean? You're just kind of identifying what they are.
Yeah.
Like you say, when that beginning journey, week 2, 3, and 4, when you kind of going, well, I thought I could fix that. It's not as simple a problem as I thought.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to attack it at a different angle. That's when it's tough. That's when you need that support network that you're talking about with BDMs and good owners that will kind of kind of go, what do you need? What do you want? Because you can lead a horse to water as many times as you like, but you can't make it drink.
So going on to support, what's one piece of advice you could give to pub managers, nightclub managers, restaurant, literally a broad spectrum piece of advice you could give to people in the sector?
Don't let your head drop. Don't let your head drop. Keep your head up at all times. Even when it's failing, keep your head up. Because if your head drops, you'll start drowning.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same as being in the water. When you're in a deep end of the pool, keep your head up. Because you'll find your way out eventually. You know, and if you can't, reach out. You know, reach out for help and support. It doesn't have to be your BDM. It could be your best mate. Could be one of the bar staff. Reach out for help because someone's always got a good idea. Someone's always got one.
I go back to what I said recently to our managers of ask GPT. You know, it's got a lot of answers out there. You sat there thinking, what can I do on a Tuesday night? Ask it, and you never know, that idea might come to you.
It does sound mad.
Even if you think the ideas are crap, just say to it, give me more ideas, and eventually something will go, wow, Chess Tuesday, I know that's a bad idea for us, but Chess Tuesday, it could work in London. You know, oh, what else? Oh, Monopoly Friday, oh, what's that? Oh, we'll give away flyers. If you collect so many flyers, you get a free drink. It just speak to it.
It's just using technology to enhance what you've already got, and I think AI is the fundamental future, and it's so important. And I say this to a lot of people I meet now: is just download it and start using it, and you'll understand how important it is to the future. And we've all. I'm not a designer, but now I could design a poster, and I could action it in seconds, which before
maybe half an hour you argue with it.
But feels right.
Yeah.
ChatGPT's wrong.
What 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that would be impossible to do.
Yeah.
But you people have got to get over that nervousness of using it and trusting it. I'm the same. You've got to embrace technology as it's there. We've spoken about it many times in meetings. Going, well, embrace it, try it. You've got to try, and then like you say, find out what works. But it's scary. Chat will give you more ideas than anybody else.
Crazy.
But I still say don't forget that
Talk.
we're human beings. Talk to each other.
It might be a historic idea what someone's done, what straight away could work for your business. But if you think about it, rewind the clock, like social media, like early days, used to be full of like Microsoft Word posters. Like you used to get the bubble fonts and
we did quite a few
and the standard, like we used to use Microsoft Office for design work going back 10, 15 years, and then obviously moved into Photoshop, Adobe Suites. But nowadays the standards got better because like the likes of Canva, that people can just literally go on, type it, and they've got a poster. But I think the trouble with Canva, which I hate, is pub down the road has got the same poster as pub down the road. Pub next to in the next town's got the same poster because they're all using the same template. Like I guarantee, Halloween will be just full of Canva templates, and everyone's going to just look the bloody same.
And I go down to this point as well of information overload. So we're going to maybe do a little bit now about advertising and marketing if we talk about socials, but which I think is a fundamental part of the pub industry. But it's information overload, as in there's so many people you see you walk past. If you can't read it, understand it, and want to do it within a second or a couple of seconds when you walk past it.
If I can't understand, if I'm walking past an offer, like if I'm walking past Town Centre Pub, got A board out, 4 seconds I'm going to walk past it. If I can't understand that offer within 4 seconds, you're not going to think about it any longer.
What's your sort of understanding now of how important social media advertising is in this sort of world that we live in hospitality?
Personally, myself, I think we're all starting to switch off because there's so much now.
There's a lot of platforms.
There is so many different platforms. It's like Facebook. I'm on it. I don't really post on it. I was trained in it. You know, the Luminar days of going on Deltic days, going on a course, learning on what to post, when to post, how to post it, how it interacts. That's all gone. My wife doesn't even use Facebook anymore. There's stuff on there, but she doesn't use it. I thought everyone was on TikTok, not. They're on Instagram. You know, there's so many platforms that people are on, but
there's so many.
But people are switching off.
It seems to work with ages as well. I mean, that's a weird thing. Like, I've never used TikTok. Obviously, we've got a TikTok account that John operates.
I'm on it all the time.
No idea how to start with it. But
I'll only post on TikTok. I don't want to get into the routine of scrolling TikTok, because I could imagine myself sat there for hours just watching crap. And I'll be just
But you do.
But I don't want to. So it's like I've not got Snapchat. Obviously Instagram, I've got it. I hold my hands up. Don't understand it. It's like my bread and butter was Facebook, because we were raised on
tagging a million
people, Bebo, and then obviously MySpace, then Bebo, and then Facebook, and then when Facebook developed, all the hacking tools we had to invite all your friends to events, and I used to have an application on my laptop.
Allegedly.
WhatsApp messages to thousands of people all the time. It was a brilliant marketing tool. And then things just got harder because they cracked down on things, and then a new platform arrived, and then Twitter, and then I'm just like, you need like 10 different platforms. So how do you reach out to all these people?
If you talk to the younger generation, they're still on a lot of them platforms, and they are guided by but they seem to be guided more by influencers, which winds me up no end. And it's not because I'm jealous because somebody's made a success out of influencing people. I just find it so frivolous, you know.
Well, it's too easy to become an influencer now.
Yeah,
it's like you take the Ibiza guy. Oh my, it's just mental. He's gone viral because of a haircut.
Yeah,
and fair play, the guy's made a bit of money, well, a lot of money in a short period of time. But what's the crack? What's the point? It's like there's people out there screaming about really interesting things,
and they get missed.
And they get missed. Up. You know,
people just move up, scrolling left, scrolling right.
I come across a guy. This is crazy. I come across a guy on Facebook who's built a full town for cats, and it's a micro town, and it's got everything from supermarkets, banks, to a subway, a working train. He's built this.
But you don't even like cats.
I hate cats.
Yeah.
But I just found this video fascinating. So I'm following this guy in China who's built a full town of cats. But that's work, that's effort to do what he's done. Yeah. Where that guy's just gone barbers and said, I'm going bald, sort my hair out.
Yeah, and I think that's the danger though. Kids are watching what's
they're influenced, so
easily influenced.
Yeah, and you know, when we talk about A-boards and stuff like that, I'm a great believer. Like you say, you've got to catch me straight away. Yeah. I've always loved when people. I mean, we used to go to Feathers, and there was always a funny comment on our A-board outside of Feathers. It used to catch me every time I go there, and I go, oh, I can't wait to find out what's on the A-board this week. And then on the other side would be the info, so you'd get caught by one side, and then then on the other side, what's on. That was kind of cool. But we are in a world now where we probably walk past more of them because everyone's got an A-board, everyone's got a TikTok account, everyone's got a Facebook account.
I think that's why recently, obviously, we plug our charging station business. We've been flyering, old school, literally knocking on doors, going in pubs, going, here's my business card, here's a flyer. And the leads we get off actually having that human contact and going, talk to us, is mental.
It's greater than both.
It's just from us. We're in a town the other day. We went in a bar what was open during a delivery. We weren't open, it's a weekend venue. And the bar manager there, found out it was a large group. And just from making that contact, we've got the group for installing plug-holes. But if I probably emailed them, messaged them on Facebook, messaged them on Instagram, TikTok videos or anything, I don't think we would have got that reach. No. I think that old school way, knocking on a door saying, hi, my name's John.
I think it's down to that old age scenario is when we were younger, you used to knock on the door for people. Now if we did that, you'd be like, who's this weirdo? Yeah. But it's different in a way that, you know, what used to be the same is now a little bit weird. You know, like, so actually that human contact has become a little bit...
It's been lost in the industry and it's coming back. I mean, I had one of the greatest teachers in marketing once, a guy called Graham Peel. Bless him soul, he's gone now, but he used to hype onto us all about shoe leather. Shoe leather, bonny lads. Get out on the streets. If you're going to talk to people, get out there and do it. There's no better than face to face. And it's funny how it's coming back because people are turning off the digital devices because it's everywhere. Don't get me wrong, there's a huge market out there. And the digital world is going to survive. We're doing it right now. You know, the digital world will survive. But
I remember when I was obviously working for Luminar, obviously I was only DJing for them 3, 4, 5 nights a week. But during the week I had nothing to do, so they were paying me just to fly a drop. Just walk around town with a branded, have a whatever liquid bag, and just fly businesses. And obviously I got paid, and I enjoyed it. Just literally chatting to staff, giving out drink deals. I'll come and see us this weekend. But then you'd get recognised because you're in the booth, or the girls will come up to you. Oh, it's you. Oh yeah, you come in for Ireland, and you don't see that anymore. That old school. I don't know if we should start really doing the old school ways again.
Yeah, I don't. I think everything goes round in circles, and I'm a big believer of that. And I think it'll be a nice time when human interaction comes back round again, because I think we've all missed a little bit of it in general in life.
Well, obviously the lockdown changed a lot, didn't it?
Yeah.
But let's not talk about that.
Not talking about lockdown.
But going back to it, it is still vitally important to a business. Is social media, because I say it's
You
a new
can't
airboard.
you couldn't survive without
You
it.
can't survive it. You can't not do it.
Yeah.
It's,
Well,
you've got
Witherspoons can.
Well, yeah, but they're still on. You can get all your drinks online.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you
but
can
they
order
are,
to your mate's
in and out.
table.
It's clever
Yeah.
what they do, because they're not on social media, but they get promoted on social media by everyone,
Yeah.
and it's crazy. Like, because the check-in locations still exist,
Yeah.
and people will promote going, oh,
Well, they got
playing
that
the
group-
Wetherspoons
Yeah,
game.
the group with that
Yeah.
Wetherspoons game.
But I find it silly that obviously Wetherspoons, you can do the Wetherspoons game, but then the Mixer app, Stonegates, you can't buy unless you're in the geofence location.
Yeah, that's-
Which I'm like, why are they not jumping on the bandwagon to encourage people to buy pints when they're sat at home for the mate who's having a shit day in the pub and wants a pint? And
But that's going back to the corporate world that we're on about
yeah,
earlier.
it's just like, to me, you just switch it off and just literally, you can buy anywhere, just know the table number.
But that discussion's probably been had around a boardroom, and somebody argued the
It's
point.
not sensible to do this.
Yeah, so they'll have argued the point over, and that's the problem with corporate. Sometimes there's too many people around the table with an opinion, and if you're outnumbered on that day, then you lose that opinion.
But yes, social media is vitally important to any business. So if you're out there starting your own pub, make sure that you engage in social media, because it is vitally
But
important.
if you're not good at social media, there is people out there who will take that off you, not even for a lot of money.
No.
There's that many people who started marketing agencies, and if you want that support, then just speak to them. They probably won't rip you off if you're a new business.
You've got to have a digital footprint. You have to.
I
have a
think
digital footprint.
nowadays your phone is a new airboard.
Yeah.
Because people spend that much time on the phones at home. You can never market with an airboard to someone sat in their house, so it's
But
vitally important.
going back to your comment now, same with your social media. That TikTok, you've got 4 seconds again,
Yeah.
because otherwise they're scrolling up.
Yeah.
So that's
It's
that
that
initial.
little hook.
Yeah.
If that
need that
hook
initial-
doesn't
yeah.
grab you, then you're just going to get
I
scrolled
mean,
past.
you'll have seen it on some of them where they'll go watch till the end, and you're waiting
Yeah.
for the funny thing to happen.
Nothing
You've got-
happens!
Exactly.
Nothing happens!
So they've got you with the hook with watch till the end.
Yeah.
You know, and that's those little things that are getting people to stay on, because it's same as your A board. You've got 4 seconds, or they're scrolling up.
We need to start wrapping this up, unfortunately, because we're going to hit that hour mark in 2 minutes.
Listen, you two have been
So-
talking way more than me.
Let's do some quick fire questions.
Oh, quick fire, let's go.
Favourite cocktail?
Oh, a well-made mojito.
A plain mojito.
A proper original mojito,
Okay,
yeah, but
alright.
well-made.
Right.
They've got to have that brown sugar. They've got to grind it in properly. I like a proper mojito.
I wasn't expecting that.
What are you thinking? A
You
pina
don't-
colada?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't look like the mojito type of guy.
Oh, I could smash mojitos all night long.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
What has been your worst job in a pub or a club?
Oh, worst.
Bear in mind it's quick fire.
I haven't had any bad.
Come on.
I've had bad experience.
Come on.
Every pub I've ever worked in and every company has always been good. There isn't one.
Or the job inside the pub
Yeah.
then.
A role within.
A role within.
Listen, there's nothing worse than having to empty a sewage tank with a bucket when it's overflowed. So I have done that, and it was in a jumping jacks. But,
Shot.
I'm missing out with the
yeah,
bottles empty.
but yeah, that was a job that had to be done,
Yeah.
and it was pretty grim. But you know, when you're the boss, you've got to take leadership, and so that was pretty grim to do. So emptying a sewage tank with a bucket.
Right. Wow. Okay. Name one person you looked up to or look up to in hospitality. You don't have to say me.
And it's definitely not going to be me.
It would probably still be the likes of Peter Marks.
Wow.
Purely because...
If you don't know Peter Marks, just maybe a little bit of a explanation.
Well, he knows who Peter
Yeah,
Marks is.
I know.
as in
The industry will know. Peter Marks has been in the industry a long time. He was one of those that championed the jumping jacks. Championed it when it was kind of going through a mixed thing. You know, there was a lot of really good managers at the time that were all over it, but I think Peter's always fought for the industry.
Yeah.
And that's always kind of inspired me.
Yeah.
You know, when I returned back to the Deltic group, he was the first one to kind of go, I know you're coming for an interview, Lee. Good luck, hope you get the job. You know, he was one of those guys I always looked up to. He was somebody you could talk to. He wasn't a CEO of a company that you had distance from.
He wasn't just a face
No,
or a wall to talk to.
He was an honest, genuine guy that would spend time to talk to you. So I always admired him and his passion for the industry. So that's why I kind of...
So well done, Peter.
Yeah, well
You're
done,
in Lee's
Peter.
good books.
Yeah.
Halloween or Christmas?
Halloween all day long.
Okay.
My wife hates Halloween, but I am a great believer. Halloween, I've had some of my busiest and best nights of Halloween because you just see people embrace
Touch
it.
wood, Friday's busy then.
I did Preston Evoke, and the Halloween night we had in there for the student was unbelievable. It literally harked on back to the old age days where I had a venue of 1,500 people and I still had 500 people
Better than
outside.
Wigan on Boxing Day.
Better than Wigan on Boxing Day.
I thought Preston was bigger than that.
It was a 1,700 capacity venue,
Yeah.
but I could only get 1,500 in and make the bar work. Because if I filled it up full, there was no bar flow. And I had this discussion with my area manager at the time. I went, trust me, I'm having to reduce the capacity because the bar's not getting served. So I reduced the number in, people could then move, the bar sales suddenly went back up again. So it's all about flow. It was very narrow corridors and opened up, but...
I loved that venue. To be fair, I only ever played that venue once.
Mega.
And I loved it. That main room were incredible.
Yeah.
I never knew. I never thought this would be quick fire when Lee was involved.
Quick fired, yeah. No problem. Sorry, next up.
Pub or club?
I love the pub.
What, to visit yourself? Is that
Pubs now, clubs back in the day, yeah, great. But I think their days are kind of numbered, unfortunately, because I still believe there's a market out there.
Yeah.
Okay, last quick fire question, and then we've got a question which we've got from our previous guest. So last quick fire question, which I already know the answer to, is, drum roll, quiz night or karaoke?
I am rubbish at karaoke, but it'll always be karaoke. I'm rubbish on a quiz night. I've got a good friend of mine, Graham. If I could take him to every single quiz, I'd win every single time. I'm a bad loser, so I don't want to lose. So karaoke for me all day long.
Okay, so our last guest was Daryl from Lancashire Beer Hire, and he is asking you this question. So let me just double check what the question was. Okay, so when opening or refitting a bar, pub or nightclub, why is sound, as in sound systems, left to the bottom of the list?
As in to purchase.
As in to purchase, obviously.
Of budgets.
You make the decor look nice, obviously everything's done, and then all of a sudden they go, oh crap, we need a sound system.
That's in his opinion.
This is his opinion, and that's his question.
I think that all depends upon the operator and who you're working with. I think sometimes it can be a last thought, but not if you're doing it right. It's like I said before, planning. You know, depending on what nature of the industry you're in and what nature you are as a person, if you're planning and you kind of go, what is my business? Well, my business is a pub and it's a bar. Then your priority is probably going to be, how does my bar work? How does the beer flow? How does everything fit in? How do my booth and seats look? And then the sound will be secondary because it's not what you're selling. But if you're doing like we do, where we're doing entertainment venues, it's incorporated in it. It's just as important because we know we're going to have live bands and live entertainment, the placement of our TVs and the structure of where things are and the sound. You know, that's all part of what you've done to develop our brand in thinking about sound. Yeah. So I agree that in some cases it probably is, but it all depends upon the operators.
Yeah, 100%.
And
the budget as well.
I mean, obviously, the budget, the operator, and the type of venue.
Yeah, you've got to factor in what's important to that business. And
obviously, some operators might be ordering a pub thinking, oh, it's just going to be a quiet, boozy pub, and then all of a sudden Saturday rocks up like, oh shit, I need a sound system now. It's an afterthought.
Yeah, and if you're doing a food venue, food venues don't generally put in great sound systems, but then that pub might develop and go, well, we want to put a live singer in, and then that changes the dynamics of it. So
I think the other thing to consider as well is if you're your first pub or your first business in general, and you might have £20,000, then you've got to spread that £20,000 as far as you can do, and
you're back to doing your list. What's important, and if sound system's low on that list, then it's going to be that afterthought. So it's not wrong that it can be, but I would say that really does depend upon the business and the operators.
I think it is fundamentally important to have a good sound system within a pub. But
100%.
obviously,
it depends on the type of venue.
Yeah.
I think it all depends. If you're going to be a party pub, you need to consider it. But if you're just going to be, as you said, a food, if it's community boozer and you've got Disco Dave coming in doing karaoke, he can bring two speakers and some lights.
You expect it in a local. I used to. We'll talk about way before. I did the local roadshow DJ when I had the light bulbs in and used to play on the decks. With my little LPs. I rocked up on a Saturday night, set up and played. It was my speakers, it was my sound, it wasn't their sound system. So, that's, like you say, venue.
But whatever it is, if you're starting out as a pub, just make it work, make your budget work.
That's all you can do.
Obviously, don't go for the top end speakers if you can't afford them. Just go to what's affordable at the end of the day.
I've been to a venue that did that, it didn't work.
It's fit for purpose. So, Daryl asked you that question. We want you to ask the guest who we have on next the next question. So anything within reason
and within the hospitality if possible, please.
So we don't know who the guest is going to be. It's just got to be an open-ended question for the next person.
Could be anyone.
Where do you get the satisfaction from your business?
Okay.
Or your job role.
Your job role. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Thank you very much. But if there's anything else, if not, we'll wrap this up. No. So thanks for listening to the Bees Brothers podcast. I'm John.
And I'm Phil.
And this has been Leigh Sweetman.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Jumping Jacks.
Bring it back.
Give me a shot.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Cheers, pal.